Hey guys, it's Brienne from Cake Stuff, and I am here in my kitchen at home due to the shelter in place, and I am going to show you how to do some different floral cupcakes. We are going to be doing a big swirl. To start off with that, we're going to do a rosette. I'm going to show you a daisy, a sunflower, a hydrangea, a mum. We're going to do some succulents, and then I'm going to do a mixed floral cupcake. So I have all of my bags laid out here. We're going to go over what tips to use with these different cupcakes and these different flowers. And then hopefully you'll want to try these on your own. You can always hop on to cakestuff316.com. There is an order form there where you can place orders anytime during the week. Sunday night at midnight is a cutoff for Wednesday pickup. If you get your orders in, we go in on Monday, we pull all of those orders, get them all ready for Wednesday pickup. So if you want any of these tips, any of this frosting colors that you see that you like, just hop online and there's a box at the end of the order form if you don't see your items that you want on the order form, where you can just fill in what you want, and we will get those items pulled for you. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with a basic swirl. So this is something that you see in all the bakeries in town, even if you walk into Walmart or Dillon's or Sam's. Most of their cupcakes will have this large swirl on it, so it's a pretty typical way of doing a cupcake, and it's not difficult at all. I have a 1M tip on my bag, and this is a large coupler. It is a giant coupler, way bigger than you would think that you would need for a tip this size, but that is the coupler that goes with these tips. I'm also going to show you how to use a 1A if you want to have a smooth tip. This one is a star tip, so it's going to have the ridges in it when I pipe with it. So when we do this, we are going to start on the outside, and this is where you're going to come closer. And we are going to go all the way around the outside. I'm going to start building up in the middle, and you're just going to do a mound until you come to the top and then pull up. So this is a very popular style that you will see on lots of cupcakes. Okay, very simple. Now, if you want to try it with a smooth tip, we'll just very easily change that out. You can, if you are just working with one tip and one color, the coupler is actually not necessary, but if you are wanting to change out colors or tips, you will want to have that coupler in place. That is what the coupler allows you to do. Okay, so set my 1M aside because I'm going to come back to that. And with this one, I'm going to use the same technique, just a totally different tip, so it'll have a different look. I'm going to start on the outside, go all the way around, bring up my mound, and pull up at the top. Now this one is very popular for poop emojis or unicorn poop. We have edible eyes at the cake store too that you can pop on there if you wanted to do it like with chocolate buttercream or fudge icing for poop emojis, which are very popular right now as well. So those two are done. Now these, though, generally will need some sprinkles because sprinkles make everything prettier. So one thing that I like to do anytime that I use sprinkles, one thing that's in my decorating kit is always a mister bottle. So anytime that I do any kind of sprinkles, because I don't want to waste half my sprinkles and have them all fall off. So anytime that I'm doing sprinkles, and I'll just go ahead and do both of these cupcakes since I've already got them frosted, I go ahead and do just a light mist on top of my cupcakes. And then I will take my sprinkles so that when I sprinkle them, the frosting is really nice and tacky, and the sprinkles will adhere nicely to them. Even these larger pearls that get thrown on there will adhere nicely when the frosting has been misted. Okay. So I'm going to move those to our finished tray. Okay. The next thing that we are going to do, get those wiped off. Set that out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is the rosette. You have seen these, I'm sure, on top of cupcakes. The sides of cakes have been completely covered in these. I would say that has been popular now for probably the last year and a half. And it is a very pretty design on cakes and super easy. So even a beginner can do this style, and it's really hard to mess up a cake when you're covering the whole thing in rosettes. So I will grab a cupcake right over here. And with this one, it's going to be similar to the technique that we used on the first cupcake, except we're not going to make a mound. We're going to keep it flat and close to the cupcake, but we're still going to do that swirl. With this one, though, we're going to start in the center. Way out. There's my dog. We're going to start in the center and work our way out. He must be seeing somebody walking down the street. He likes to bark at everything and everybody. So it creates a rose type effect, okay? So we're going to start in the center, and we're going to spiral our way out, and then we're just going to stop squeezing and pull up at the end, okay? So there we have a rosette, okay? Now, you can see on this rosette right here, you always have the end of where the tip stopped. So in order for us to I like to cover that up. A lot of people don't care. They don't, it doesn't bother them. Me, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I like to cover up my ends. So one thing that we have at Cake Stuff is these really pretty pre-made, I think they're, what do they call these? I don't even know. They're just icing decorations. So these are the purple ones. I love these. I think they're absolutely adorable. We also have, this is one of my favorite new edible flowers that we've started carrying. They are a wafer paper flower. They come in white. You can use powdered food color. You can use luster dust, petal dust. You can brush it and paint it if you want to color it. You can also use the Color Mist spray colors from Wilton and spray the colors. If you have an airbrush, you can airbrush these and color them. Anytime that you're using wet solutions, though, to color these, you do have to be careful not to get them too wet because they can disintegrate. They are wafer paper, but they are absolutely gorgeous. And I've used these several times already on wedding cupcakes, and the brides have just absolutely loved them. They're really, really pretty. And you could tuck that right in there, but this one is a little bit large for just hiding at that edge. So I am just going to take this little purple flower, and I'm just going to tuck that in right there, and look how pretty that is. Makes an absolutely gorgeous cupcake, and it looks much more finished now that it has just that little purple flower on it. And while we're beautifying things, let's talk about edible glitter, because glitter makes everything prettier. And I don't know if this is going to show up on camera, but I have added some glitter to that, and now it has an amazing iridescent sparkle to it. I'm kind of hoping that that shows up on camera, but I don't know if it will. But I think everything looks better with glitter. Okay, let's set that aside. And that is also available at Cake Stuff. This is the rainbow disco dust, and we also have these amazing little pumps that squirt it right out, so you have a lot less waste because it gets it exactly where you want it to go. Okay, let's see what's next. Put that down. Next, we are going to do a daisy. Okay, this is one of my favorites. It's so cute. And this is one, too, that's great if you have little ones at home that want to start learning how to decorate cupcakes or just cakes in general. These can also be done on sheet cakes, round cakes, whatever. It's a very simple flower, and it's an easy one for kids to learn. Okay, I am going to start with our electric pink color. Very, very fun color for spring. And I am going to, I often fill my bags pretty full. If you're working with little ones, I would only suggest filling it about half full, just because it is a lot harder to handle a bag that is completely full. Okay, but I just twist mine about halfway down, and then I slide my bag into my hand. This just rests on that portion of the back of my hand so that it doesn't go falling out everywhere. And so for the daisy, we are going to start with the petals, and I am going to start on the outside of the cupcake. I'm going to squeeze a dollop, and then I'm going to pull it into the center of my cupcake. And I'm going to go all the way around and do that with the petals, and then I'm going to come back and create a center. So let's start with the first petal. So I'm going to squeeze a dollop, and then I'm going to squeeze just a little bit as I'm coming in, and then I'm going to pull, okay? And I'm going to go straight across, and I'm going to do another one. I'm going to squeeze and pull, and then I'm going to do an X first, squeeze and pull. And doing it this way just kind of helps me to make sure that I have an even number of petals. And I can fit 2 into each one of those gaps. And just squeeze and pull. I don't know if you guys noticed, but my cupcakes are a really pretty pink color, the actual cakes themselves. They are white cake, but I added a little bit of our deep pink AmeriColor food gel to it, just to give it a pinky spring kind of color. So that is the, and then I am going to do a yellow center, and this is the egg yellow from AmeriColor, and I have a 12 on this. Oh, sorry, for my petals, I used a 10, okay? You could go, smaller if you want narrower petals. If you want really big fat petals, you can go with like a 12 for the petals, and it would make them bigger. Totally personal preference. I kind of like that medium-sized petal, so I go with the 10. I have a 12 for my center, because I want a nice big fat button center. And I just make a big button. And how cute is that? Okay. Now, one thing that my mom always taught me when she was teaching me, this was, I won't tell you how many years ago it was, but I was about 12 when she started teaching me how to decorate cakes. She always said the difference between a novice and a master is that you don't allow the points to stay up when you are doing your icing. So, I'm going to step over to my sink, just get my finger wet real quick, just a little bit damp, and then I just tap that down, and I no longer have that point on my center. Just flatten it out a little bit, okay? And usually when I'm decorating, I have just a little silver bowl that I keep water in, so anytime I need to, just get my fingertip wet and push it down, I have that available, okay? So, cute little daisy. That turned out really cute. Okay. Next on the list is one that I love to teach because we live in Kansas, and it's a sunflower. So everybody in Kansas should know how to make a sunflower out of frosting, okay? So I am going to switch out my tip. For the sunflower petals, we are going to want to use a 352. And that's this tip right here. And it kind of looks like a bird's beak or a chicken beak, kind of, okay? And that is a leaf tip, but it is going to do the petals of a sunflower. It also does things like the feathers on an owl, and that sort of thing. Okay, and I've got my golden yellow frosting for my sunflower. Let's see here. Let's do this little polka dotted cupcake liner. Okay. So for this one, once again, I'm going to squeeze it off in the middle, because the less that you have to squeeze, the easier it is to control. Okay? Now, with this tip, you want to use it just like a bird's beak. Okay? You don't want to do it this way. It just won't give you the right look. Okay? If you do it this way, it comes out as a petal. Okay? And we are going to start, sunflowers have a couple of different layers of petals. So we are going to start with the bottom layer, and that is going to be, we're going to start towards the center. I'm going to squeeze as I'm coming out. When I get towards the edge of my cupcake, I'm going to stop squeezing, and I'm just going to pull. And when I pull, it's going to give me a point on the tip of my leaf. Okay, so let's watch. Squeeze and pull. Okay, squeeze, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap in between my petals here so that when I do my next layer, it will fill in that gap. And then the next layer will go right in between these petals. You'll also notice that I'm leaving a little circle in the center. Sunflowers have fairly large centers. And so there's really no reason for me to completely fill that middle with buttercream. If I do that and then I go and put that large center in the middle, yeah, the icing in the middle would be, an inch thick, and that's just not really necessary. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to do my second layer of petals. And they're going to go right in between that first layer. And just squeeze, 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 pull. Squeeze, 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 pull. And pull. Okay, now I've got 2 layers of my petals done. And if you wanted to go in and add a 3rd layer, you certainly could. I think 2 is sufficient, but it's totally personal preference. Ooh, my icing is getting ready to pop out the top of my bag. I am just going to get that back down in there. Okay, and then I am going to bring out my brown for the center, and I'm just going to do a big dollop right in the middle, and I'm going to build it up just to fill in that center. And if you have chocolate jimmies or any kind of dark textured sprinkle, I looked and I don't have any. It is really cool. I love putting the chocolate jimmies right in the center of these. It just gives it a lot of texture in the center and makes it look more realistic, like a sunflower. So, I don't want to get my finger wet, so smooth out that little point in the middle, and we have a sunflower. So we are back. Okay, we are ready to start with the mum. This is one of my absolute favorites. I think it's just because I really like the tip that they use in this one. It's a tip that doesn't get used enough. It is a 79, and it is a tip that looks like a U shape. So can you get a good shot of that? And the most popular form of this tip was the 81. Wilton has discontinued a lot of their tips over the last couple of years, and that was one of them that went by the wayside. So, but the 79 is still a wonderful tip that's that style, and I really, really enjoy using this tip. It gives the petal a really pretty curl, and so it's really great for using it on a mum. Okay. My puppy is trying to help me out during this part of the tutorial. Okay, so for this, mums have lots and lots of layers, okay? And of course, we're always going to start with that bottom layer. But to avoid having, like several inches of frosting on the cupcake when we get done, which would just be too much, we are going to start at the very outside of the cupcake, and then we're going to work our way in, okay? So we are going to come to the outside of the cupcake, and as we make that petal, you can see it's coming out cup-shaped. Comes out really, really pretty. I love these petals. We are going to go around, and we are going to do this all the way around. And this cupcake, I would say this is one of the more time-consuming cupcakes, but they are so darn pretty when you get them done. But definitely, if you decide to do these, give yourself some time, because putting all of these petals on individually does take some time. And as you can see, when I am finishing the petals, I am pulling them up because a mum, the petals pull up, okay? And then the next layer, we are just going to go a little bit further into the cupcake. And we are going to pull those petals up. Whoop, that one was really long. And if your petals are not all the exact same length, don't worry about it, okay? In nature, they're not all the same length. So there's no such thing as an exact, perfect length of petals, okay? So we are going to keep building those layers. Okay. And keep getting closer into the middle. Now, when you get close to the center, mums have really pretty centers in them too. Okay, so I am going to stop there, and I am going to switch over to my yellow, and I have put a number 3 tip on this. If you want, there is a tip called a 234, or a 233 actually is a smaller version of it. This is the 234, and it is a grass tip, okay? There is a smaller version of this called a 233. I looked and for some reason I don't own the 233, but I do own the bigger 234. And if you wanted to, you could just use that, and it would do several yellow like stamens in the middle at one time. But since I didn't have a smaller one, I didn't want to use the giant one for this. So I am just going to do mine one at a time by hand. And I don't want to try and control this entire bag of frosting. So I am going to twist it halfway down. And I'm just going to do a little squeeze and a little pull. Squeeze and pull. Squeeze and pull. Squeeze and pull. Squeeze and pull. And I'm just making a little circle of these in the middle. So you can see I have a little center of yellow stamens. So that turns out to be a really cute flower. I love that. And you can do these in any color. Mums come in just about any color. Okay, but that hot pink is really fun for spring, I think. Okay, next on the list is succulents. And this has been a really popular trend for, I would say, at least 2 years. And you kind of have to ignore some of the colors that I've got going here. They're not exact to succulent colors, but I did try to do a few of them to what would be actual succulents. I just didn't want to have to make like 12 additional colors, so they're not exact. Also, I have one here that I did, and I'm going to show you the technique of doing this type of a colored bag. So there's lavender on the outside and an olive green in the center. So when I do this particular flower or plant, succulent, you'll be able to see the effects of having those two colors blended in a bag. And I will show you that. We're also going to be doing some cactus or cacti out of this olive green color. I'm also going to do some details with just a little bit of white. And then some of the tops of the cacti, I am going to show you how to use Wilton Red pouch icing. These are really great. They come with 2 tips on the bag, which I think is really kind of cool. Comes with a round tip and a star tip. So we're going to go over how to use these. Just another different way if you don't want to use your own tips and bags. If you just want to get something that's easy, already bagged, that has tips on it, we've got that too. Okay? So the first one I'm going to show you is, and you'll have to excuse me because I don't know my succulent names. So this is just a succulent. And we're going to use our 352 leaf tip again. which looks like that bird beak, okay? And we are going to start at the bottom, and most of the succulent cupcakes that I have seen have multiple succulents on a cupcake, so we are going to be doing several different ones on this one individual cupcake. And I may go to a second cupcake, but we'll see. Okay, so this one, I'm going to start by creating a circle of petals. Just like this. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a base, just to have something to build off of. Then I'm going to come in and do another layer. It's just going to fill in between that first layer. Fill in between those two, and those two, and those two. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to fill in another layer. And I am not even really sure what this is even called. And you can really make it as tall as you want. Okay, so there's that one there. It's not very pretty. My icing is really soft, so my petals are not very defined, and they're kind of melting into each other. That's what happens when your frosting gets too soft. Okay, but there is that one. And you can see the mixture of the purples and the greens in each one of the petals though. And that's from having both of those colors in that bag. Okay. If my icing was a lot stiffer, it would be a lot prettier. Okay. So the next one I'm going to show you, I am using a tip 199, and this tip actually is no longer being made by Wilton, but we happen to have some of these behind the register at Cake Stuff that we've kind of hoarded and hidden. So if you really like this one, holler at us when you come in, and we'll find it for you. Okay, we'll get you one. Okay, so these are just squeeze and squeeze. They're so cute. I love this tip because it has so many ridges. Let me wipe this off so you can get a good look at the end of the tip. This tip, you can get a good close-up of that, has a ton of little ridges on it. So when you squeeze it out, it has so many little lines and ridges. It's one of my favorite star tips. I absolutely love it. I wish that they would not have gotten rid of that one. Okay, the next one then that I'm going to show you for another succulent is a 21. And this is a very common tip for borders and things. And it's just an open star tip. Kind of a middle-sized open star tip. Okay, so there's that one. And I'm going to do a very similar effect to that, but you can kind of see the difference in their looks. And I'm only going to do one because I want to save some room for some other things. But there's the look of that. Okay. And then I am going to use the 1M. So it's going to be pink. And obviously there are not pink succulents. Well, I guess maybe there are. But not really pink cactus. But it's going to give you the look of it. And then this is where this little cool guy comes in. Okay, that screws off. Now it comes with a round tip first, but I don't want to use that. So you just simply unscrew the round tip, and then boom, you have a star tip. Coolest thing ever. Okay, now, I was just going to warn you about that. One thing is that with the red, I've noticed red food coloring drips out first. Even though I needed it first, you kind of have to squeeze out a little bit just to get that red drip to go away. Okay, but these, little red stars on top of the succulents. I think I might call this cupcake a bit of a fail. See, this is what happens when you're filming things. They don't always work out to your best benefit. Okay. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I have my little red flowers on top of my cacti. And one thing that I have seen on some cactuses that I thought were really cute, or cacti, was taking a one tip, and this is going to be time consuming, but you go and you make little dots on your cacti. Now, like I said, it's very time consuming. So, but I love doing little tiny details like this when I do things, just because in my opinion, it's those little details that make all the difference. Okay. I love the little spikes on the cactus. Okay. So there is our succulent. Okay, we'll set him up here. My cupcakes are getting pretty close together. Okay. Clean up that red food color. If you guys don't have Norwex towels, I highly recommend them. They are made with silver running through them, so they naturally clean and disinfect just wiping with them. Okay. A mixed floral. These are all the rage right now. Okay? Super, super popular. So you just do like a combination of different floral type techniques on a cupcake, and they're absolutely beautiful. Okay? So the one that I want to do, I am going to start with, let me see what I decided to do. I was going to use my purple and green combination, and I am going to switch this to an 18 for part of this. And an 18 is just a star tip. It's similar to that 21 that we used just a little bit ago. It's just a tad bit smaller. Okay. And then I'm also going to use a 6, and I'm going to do that with my olive green. And a 6 is just like a medium-sized round tip. And then I'm going to throw in some of that 1M. Okay? So I am going to start off, I am going to, tell you what, I'm going to use my white, because I want to have a tad bit of buildup of icing in the center so that I have a little bit of a mound of frosting. So I'm just going to use white to do that, and in order to do this, I'm just going to pop my tip off, and I'm just going to use the opening of my coupler, okay, because it's nice and perfectly round, okay. So I'm just going to get a little tiny mound right there in the center of my cupcake, just to give me a little bit of height to get started, okay. And I am going to start with a 1M star in the center. It's going to be a little flower. Okay, just have a little flower like this right in the middle. Okay, I'm going to put that away. I'm going to take my purple and green and the rosettes that we did earlier, which is this one here, this pink and purple one. Can you get a close-up of that one? We're going to use that same rosette technique, but we are going to do little miniature rosettes on this. So I am going to start in the center, and I'm going to work my way out just like that. And then I'm going to come over here. I'll spin it so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to do another little rosette right over here. Okay. And then I'm going to take this little olive green guy, And I'm just gonna do just some little dollops. And these guys, really, your imagination, you know, is a limit. And honestly, I just went online and Googled floral cupcakes, and these popped up, and I thought that they were just darling. So this is actually my little cheat sheet that I've been using today, okay? And this one, if we can get a close-up of that, this is the one that I'm kind of using right now as my guide for this mixed floral cupcake. So, but like I said, your imagination, you know, there's no wrong way to do these. So, you know, if you want to have stars here and dollops here and this and that, go for it. And then I'm just going to fill in with little star flowers here. You know, you can fit these to any theme whatsoever, any color theme that you're using. Okay, and now you have a little mixed floral cupcake. How cute is that? Okay, I really like that. That's really cute. Okay, so I'm gonna set that one right here in the center. Okay, and then the last one that I want to show you guys tonight is the hydrangea. Okay, and this is one of my absolute favorites. I think I said that about a couple of them tonight, but I really, really love this one. Super pretty and super simple. Okay, but while I'm showing you guys this one, I didn't fill this bag for a reason. I want to show you guys a really simple way of doing the two color system on these. Hydrangeas are blue on the outside, but they have white centers. So in order to get that effect, I'm going to show you guys a really simple way to get there. Okay, so I am going to start with blue buttercream. Okay, we sell this at Cake Stuff. Already pre-colored, ready to go. Didn't even have to mix my own colors. Stuff falling off my wall in my kitchen. Okay, so I'm going to grab some blue frosting, do a little stir. Ooh, that's really, really soft. Okay, and I'm just going to take a dollop of this. I don't want a ton. I'm just going to stick a dollop in there. Okay, and I am just going to take this color and I'm just going to massage it in my bag. And you'll notice too that I'm folding my bag down when I go to fill it. That makes sure that all of the mess stays inside the bag. This side will stay clean, so when I go to close it, I don't have a horrid mess of icing everywhere. Okay? So I'm just going to massage the frosting in the bag. And it's getting fairly thin in there, so I may go ahead and add just a tad bit more, because I really do want the blue to show. Okay. Get a good amount of blue in there. All right. That's good and mashed all over the bag. So now I'm going to use my spatula and I'm going to open my bag. Now, at this point, you could just use a spatula and put dollops of white frosting down into the bag and just kind of shake your bag like this to get the white to go down. But I think it's a whole lot easier if you bag your white and then you can squeeze it down into the bag, okay? This gets it there a lot quicker, okay? And a lot messier, or a lot less messy, I should say. Okay? Let's open this back up. Okay. I bagged white frosting. And I'm just going to put that down inside here. I'm just going to squeeze, and yes, it makes my white bag filthy, but that's okay. Because now I'm done with this, and this can go in my sink, okay? And wipe all that away. Yeah, it's good to always have a wet towel in your work area as well. Especially a sanitizing towel. Okay. And now I have a blue bag on the outside, but white down the center. Okay? So I'm going to squeeze a little bit of it out just to make sure that I'm getting that white through the middle. And now we're going to go and do our hydrangea. Okay? And these are super, super simple. Okay? They're pretty much impossible to ruin. Okay? So all we're going to do is, oh, this is a 2D. Okay? The tip is a 2D. It's one of the jumbo star tips. When I first started making hydrangeas, I was using a 1M, and I was like, oh, these are pretty. Then I tried the 2D, and it just makes the petals ruffle enough when they come out. So gorgeous. So gorgeous. You're going to love this. Okay? So all we're going to do is we're going to start on the outside. I'm just going to hold this down to the cupcake, squeeze. I'm going to stop squeezing, and then I'm going to pull. Okay? And you can see the white center to the blue flower. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay? I really love these. Okay? And I'm just going to go in a ring. And if you've thought about doing maybe some floral cupcakes, maybe for mom, for Mother's Day, you know, you could do a bouquet. These would be an amazing addition to that. So there we go. All you do is little stars all the way around. So super simple. And it comes out gorgeous every time. Okay, absolutely one of my favorites. Okay. Okay, well, that is the end of my floral cupcake tutorial. I hope you guys learned a lot from this. If you guys have any questions, please give us a call. We are at the store on Mondays during the day, during this shelter in place. You can call anytime Mondays to get your questions answered. You can also come in on Wednesdays from 10 to 6. The store is open during those days for you to come in and shop with us. You can also do curbside pickup on Wednesdays. If you need anything, you can either order online or you can call in and order, and we can take your payment over the phone and take it out to you curbside. So please, if you have any questions or you need anything from us, let us know. We're all in this together. Have a good night. Thanks.